So today I want to do an update on all of my aquariums, not just the ones that are up and running, but some of them are half built, others aren't stocked yet. I want to bring you all throughout the aquarium gallery and into the old fish room. I think it's going to be important for you guys to see this video, to see where we're at and to see where we're headed. And of course, first things first. The first aquarium that you see when you come into the aquarium gallery, the 700-gallon planted fish tank. This actually just went through a massive transition. I've removed all of these plants here, or at least what I could. You'll notice that there's still a little bit here and there, and this is called Ambulia. It looks incredibly similar to Kabamba, and I've actually called that in the past, but it's technically Ambulia. A bunch of differences between the two, and one of them that I've noticed is that the leaves on it are tremendously finer. I also find that it has no restriction in how tall it can grow. This tank's 28 inches tall, and we've seen it time and time again go to the surface of the tank and drape over, making me think that this can grow to at least 3 to 4 feet. And when it's not getting enough light, I want to point something out. I never planted these ones here. I only put them back in this corner and back in that corner. Now, it kind of looks a little shoddy here and there because I was literally ripping them out, or as much as I could, and I'm going to come back and do some more again, but when it's not getting enough light, they'll begin to lie themselves over and kind of put out roots wherever they want to go. Here's a fantastic example. This one's coming from way over there, but you can see where its stem is. And it comes up, and boom. Ooh, you're gorgeous. The fish in the tank are doing absolutely fantastic, but we do have a couple of issues. 2 pairs of angels, these Ultim angels, have formed and wreaked havoc on everybody else in the tank. Besides this pair, this is the male, and that's the female, yeah, and this is like their little gang of discus. They have like this little harem. This group is always together. It's usually about 10 or 12 of the 30 discus stick with this pair, and then I bet you the other pair, let me see, no, another discus. The other pair will be in there somewhere. Probably in the back corner. They usually stay as far away from each other as possible. Yeah, way back in that corner there. We're never gonna be able to see that far back with this camera, but the other pair is there. And they were attempting to destroy any competition in the aquarium, but once I noticed these guys laying eggs and then those guys over there laying eggs, I slowly, over the course of a couple of weeks, started removing the other Ultim angels. The 8 others. Now, I had a couple of options. I could have added them to the 2000, but I'm not so sure they're going to get along okay in there anymore. So I gave 8 of them to a friend. I might get them back at some point because they're incredibly expensive and really beautiful, but he had a spare 180-gallon aquarium that I actually gave him as well to hold my fish. I just run at his face, and he's going to take care of them for now. The discus are doing absolutely fantastic. I did have to travel for about a week, and because of that, actually in the past month, I've traveled for a total of 2.5 weeks away. So in the meantime, I've been putting on these little Temu automatic feeders, and it's been feeding 4 times a day since I've been back, because once I got back, it was still really hectic. They just weren't eating as much as they should have. I noticed some were getting really thin, but now that we've got an automated feeder feeding this tank 4 times a day, they've really packed on a lot more size and doing absolutely gorgeously. You'll notice that they might seem small, only about 4 to maybe 3.5, 4 inches or so, but you'll also have to remember that I've bred discus at this size before, so we'll just have to keep a close eye on everybody. You'll also notice that not all the discus are out, and simple reason is they all hide throughout the tank. There's one in that back there, some more over here. Let's see what else. Yeah, they're just everywhere, a couple over here. So sometimes people will say, where's this fish or where's that fish? I don't know, in the tank. Look, there's some Siamese algae eaters. All the tetras are over here right now. They're not swimming around the tank when I come around because I just started removing all these plants a couple of days ago. So they're still kind of getting used to the damage that I just kind of did to their home. You'll also notice I removed some of the standing logs There was one, I believe it was right here, and maybe like another one right here. I just wanted to open it up a little bit more. I also plucked some of these swords and started to relocate them. Put some over here as well. I think I'm gonna do it again. They're just so darn hard to get to, but I'd like to take a few more and get some over in this side. I want all of this plant gone. And perhaps some more over here. But this tank is just absolutely awesome. I love the way it's progressing. I'm not a huge fan of what happened with the angels, but that's going to happen when you have that many. And mind you, I've had them for 2 years and we're just getting some breeding activity out of them now. Will they hatch in this tank? Probably not. I think they just get eaten. But look how glorious these guys are. Male on the bottom, female on top. And like I said, the discus are around 4 inches. So the bodies front to back on these ultums are probably 4 to 5 inches, but top to bottom, probably, I don't know, this is 28-inch tank, probably 8 inches tall at least. Absolutely enormous, and they're only, I don't know, not even halfway grown. Beautiful aquarium. The next one I kind of want to look at is the electric eel tank. Once again, some changes had to be made to this tank. Nothing crazy. But I did remove all of the anubias. It's too close to the surface, and in order for me to get these, the dwarf sage to grow that's down here, as well as the Valisaria to grow, I need relatively bright lights. And because of that, and the anubias being so close to the surface, they were just getting coated in algae, and it kind of hid the look of the raw or the wood. And what I want to happen is I want all of this dwarf Sagittaria to kind of fill in this entire area, give me like this grassy spot, and I want all the jungle, or I want all the Valisaria to grow out and fill out here and kind of almost hide the wood almost entirely. You'll notice that right now the electric eel, this is his go-to spot in the back corner, but usually he's out and swimming constantly. Above him, and this is a 180-gallon aquarium as well. At some point, I'd like to go through all equipment because I'm getting results with so many pieces and types of equipment. I'm not being loyal to absolutely anything or any brand or anything like that. And we're achieving a lot of different results on a lot of different types of budgets. From using glass lids to twin wall polycarbonate type lids to greenhouse lids, from really expensive lights to shop lights to Amazon special lights to your classic Fluval lights, these pendant lights, all different types. So if you guys want to see me kind of break down every aquarium by the type of equipment that we're using and, you know, a full breakdown on everything, I'd love to do that for you. But right above the electric eel aquarium is 2 acrylic tanks that I built. They're 48 inches long, 16 inches tall, 16 inches wide. Above them are 4 15-gallon tanks that are 2 feet by 1 feet by 1 feet. These are all tomato shrimp tanks, just filled with shrimp. I'm not really going to be updating on them. And on the other end is another 4 15-gallon tanks way down there that don't have anything in them, but I think I'm going to do more shrimp tanks. I'm going to rescape these and all of those, and I think I want them all to match. I'm going to take these bonsai trees, and I want 1 in each tank, and then I want a specific type of moss growing on all of them, and the bottom I want it to be just like a dark brown humate base substrate, because I think that looks best. And then, so very basic, and then a different color of shrimp in each tank, because this has like probably 500 shrimp, but you wouldn't know it. So this 4-foot tank here is Tyrese, my Fahaka puffers. He's been out in the gallery for what, 6-7 years now? And in his tank is more of that Val, more of that dwarf sage, which is not looking fantastic, and some swords over here, some ambulia. And the reason why this tank, and I'm going to show you the other tank right away, but if you look closely, the reason why these plants are almost entirely covered in algae, but we come over here, and this tank is on the same filtration system. All of these tanks are combined, but this doesn't have any algae. It's just because of the plant density in comparison, whereas this tank isn't able to fight off the algae as easy as that one. With that said, I did add in the ambulia to combat that, and even though there's an algae issue, it's going to correct itself eventually. But the number one thing that I'm looking for is if the plants not only are growing, because a lot of the times when you transport plants, they'll melt off, but because this sends off runners, what's going to happen is if one of them dies or melts away, it already sent off a runner for a new life, like saving itself type of deal. But I also took out all the wood that was in there because it was just kind of taking up space in there. And for the most part, he doesn't need a tremendous amount of swimming space. This is kind of what he does all day. He just kind of looks at me, follows me around. And if I'm not around, he'll just lay on the substrate like he's depressed. Maybe he needs some antidepressants, I don't know. But this tank is doing quite well and very interesting. And again, in time, you'll have to remember, it might start out looking like this, but I give it long enough and we're gonna get some really fantastic results. I love coming over to this tank because every time I look over, it's a different tank. Different fish are out. Something different is going on. I really wouldn't mind the tetras to go back to swimming normally, but let's take a look. Remember, we got coolie loaches in here, Siamese algae eaters, and there's a couple of them. What else did we put in here, guys? It's hard to remember what's in here because you never see it again. It's kind of crazy that way. And then Tamara's ropefish tank. This tank is really fun as well. It's probably one of my favorite to look at just based off the simplicity of the scape, and it's going to get a lot better. Here's an example of new runners being put off. So you don't trim these or anything. They send off new runners and the plant will continue to grow and grow and grow. Every plant in this tank is sending off runners, whereas the Ambulia is a stem plant. In order to control it, I got to trim it. And you might be thinking, well, don't worry about trimming it, just let it go crazy. The problem is as the plants are growing up high, and what I've noticed in having really big tanks and letting these plants grow to see what will happen, is they will grow all the way to the surface. But then what they'll do is once they get to the surface, they'll send off roots and try to lay themselves down, and everything behind them dies off and it's just one long stem. So it looks absolutely horrible. But trimming it, we can kind of shape them, trim them, replant the pieces that we snip off. And it's a fun tank if you like to be hands-on with your aquarium. If not, stick with runners. Stay away from stem plants. Stem plants are a nightmare in big tanks, but in small little tanks where you want to kind of tinker around, they're absolutely fantastic. In this aquarium is all ropefish. Where are they, you might ask? I don't know. Probably in the rocks. Yeah, there's some. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 in there right now. And I know she has 4. And there's the other one. Fourth one's in this one. But they spend most of their time doing just that. Sometimes they'll squiggle around and swim around, but that's when it's time to eat. But I don't feed this tank. It's Tamara's tank, so she's got to do all of that. Now, we're getting to the area of this 22-foot long rack where it's not done. You'll notice there's another acrylic tank here. No lights, no nothing, just literally a canister filter, just running it, kind of like an emergency situation for my lionfish, who's an absolute pleasure, and everybody's always asking about him. Very friendly, but as soon as I get the final 180-gallon aquarium down here, that's where he's going. Oh, and I should mention, these are all CO2 tanks. They're all 20-pound tanks. I think I'm going to put all of these planted tanks on CO2 and let them go nuts, like everything in here, because everything's planted now for some reason. I don't know what's going through my head, but I'm on this planted tank trip, and since I'm having success with certain types of plants, I might as well just go crazy and do it. Because my entire hobby was like this, monster fish in bare tanks. And that was cool until it's kind of boring and, you know, you kind of want to move on and evolve. And there's nothing wrong with getting bored with a fish tank or your hobby kind of evolving. It's really fun to do those types of things. Right beside him, so this is a 32-inch by 16 by 16. It's approximately like what? 35 gallons, something like that. There's going to be a 20-gallon cube here and a 20-gallon cube there, all of which I built all these acrylic aquariums in the past. Below it will be that 180. All of this section will be salt water. So he's going to go down here in like a Predator-style 180-gallon tank. I'm probably just going to give him the tank, although I might add him some friends. In here, I don't know what I want to do. I might do a clownfish and anemone community, and over here maybe some sort of shrimps, and over here, I don't know yet. We'll see what goes on. Let me know about the saltwater section and what you think I should do, but it comes with one stipulation. He's not going anywhere. He's coming along with me. Isn't it cool? Really fresh looking, all this white. I like it. Because it's like a lot of white tanks and a lot of black tanks, and everything's kind of planted, including the walls. And I haven't even gotten a chance to finish things off, but I'm going to show you a tank that I just kind of spent 10 minutes kind of doing last night. I have absolutely no plans for this. So in the bottom is some pool filtration sand, maybe about 50 pounds of it. And then 2 big rocks here, 2 big rocks there. And this is 2 sticks of manzanita, and that's 2 sticks of manzanita. And that's it. But isn't that perfect? And look at the white wall behind it. You'll also notice that I haven't been using 3D backgrounds in all of the tanks. The next tank below it that you guys haven't seen, we're using one. But I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm really liking it. But in terms of plants for this, I'm going to cover all this manzanita with moss. That's it. White sand, 2 big crisp rocks, and all of that moss growing on it. What fish? I don't know. I'm not an aquascaper or a planted fish keeper, or a planted tank keeper, I should say. But this is kind of what I would do if I really liked the idea of the scape first and didn't know what I wanted to do with the plant. So this is a really fun tank for me to have right now because it's something I never do. When I set up a new aquarium, I always think, what fish am I going to keep? And based on that fish, what tank do they need? Do I need to build it? Can I source it? Do they need something specific? Because if I got to build it, heck, we could build big acrylic tanks and concrete tanks, glass tanks, you name it. Anything I need, I'm going to create if I have to do it. After I figure out the tank, then I think, what environment do they need? I've never gone backwards. So this is new to me. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, especially what fish I should keep in there. I'm open to the idea of a massive cloud of tetras. And I think I want to do that, but I want them to be small tetras, so maybe cardinals. But if I buy cardinals and I get 200 of them for this, I'm probably going to end up with 3. Cardinals and me just don't mix for some reason. Maybe I could do neon tetras. I don't know. I wouldn't mind it being just a boring one species tetra tank that's really pretty to look at. This, I'm missing another 4-foot tank, but it's in the basement with another fish in it right now. We're going to go down there in a second, but it'll go right here. Obviously, I got to tidy up. So this entire racking system has 8 up top, and then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 18 aquariums on this wall. That's the most this wall has ever had. Now, down below it, so you guys know that Tamara has her Tropheus from Lake Tanganyika. You'll also know that the first cichlid I ever added to the aquarium gallery on this wall was Tropheus years ago. I've been in and out of Tropheus for a very long time. Just like discus, I keep coming back. And I thought, if I'm going to do Tropheus again, I want to do a planted tank, but I also want it to be good for them. And I don't want them to be able to destroy it. Anubias is a great solution. We've got some giant types and some smaller nanos. This nano stuff, I've had it for years and years and years, and I think I started off with something like this, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger. Look, it's everywhere. And then same with this stuff. Started off with a few pieces, and it just got huge. So that is an Aqua Decor 3D background on the back. And then I took these giant rocks that are also fake. They're hollow. And I put them in there as well. Just, I think, 6 of them. Very simple. And then I started adding in these fake vines, gluing them to the back. Is this reminiscent of Lake Tanganyika? No, I'm not trying to build a biotype or a biotope. I'm just trying to build a cool tank that the fish will enjoy, that looks really nice, that makes sense. And these are all real plants in here. We're also adding in shell dwellers. So you got to also imagine that we're going to have in the white sand scattered all over the place, all these white shells and tiny fish kind of going in throughout. And then up top, we'll have all of those Tropheus. We're going to go look at all those fish here in a second. But the next tank I want to look at is the Flowerhorn tank. Okay, the 3 big guys that we added in here the other day are hiding. But this is the tank I kind of, yeah, of course, I come, there you are. Look at this one. Wait, I gotta fix the camera. Quick. See if I can get it. See its row of flowers across its whole body? I think that's it. That's what's really interesting about these guys right now, is that I'm really having fun looking at them all, figuring them all out, and seeing what they're all gonna become. but some are displaying certain colors while others are displaying different traits. And I thought we might just, you know, keep all of these guys in the tank and see what happens long term. But I think now that I'm getting to actually see them, you know, sit right in front of them, pull a chair over and sit here and stare at them and get a really good idea of what we're working with, there's no way I want to do that anymore. Definitely going to see and keep them all, and we're going to grow them all out. Heck, maybe I abandon the idea of shrimp and we just keep the best 8 and do 8 Flowerhorn up along here. That would be kind of cool. Oh, and the light going around this on the white, doesn't that look like the bat symbol kind of? If you squint your eyes, and but it's just my logo. And then a little food thing up there. Everything's so unorganized and kind of messy, but it's coming together nicely, and I'm going to work on it here shortly. This tank also has a lot of that ambulia in the back, and then some dwarf sage up front, and then of course a little bit of Valisaria. And the more and more I look at this tank, the more and more I realize I should have cleaned it before I made this video. I was also looking at the 700 and I saw a bunch of uneaten food. Probably could clean that up, but hey, aquariums aren't always perfect every time. This scape is hollow, so the fish can go way in behind all of this fake tree trunk. And the interesting thing is it comes all the way up through the aquariums, and it's like about 6 inches from the ceiling, but you can't really tell on video. You really gotta kind of get up in here and go see that. Oh yeah, it's not touching it, but you don't see that. Lots of moss on here, but I also hung some moss up there just to kind of fill it in and kind of look like, yeah, maybe there is a tree that went up through there. Very interesting. And this section kind of bleeds into this section. Now that background there, you'll remember, used to be in the 2,000-gallon aquarium, but now it's become a part of the Piranha tank. This tank's 8 feet long, 3 feet wide, 2 feet tall. I built this out of 3/4 inch acrylic back before the aquarium gallery didn't even exist. However, where I built it was right over there where the 700 is in the old barn before we took it down. But this is where this ambulia, well, I've recently kind of pruned it, but you can start to see if you don't prune this stuff and you let it go crazy, it starts to die down low because it's not getting that light. So I tried to rip out as much as I could last night. I didn't do a great job over on this side. It looks way better over here. But you got to keep in mind, I'm sticking my hand into the tank filled with piranha, and every once in a while, there's a freaking piranha in the plant. So you got to be really careful and relatively fast. But I really like the contrast of this stuff and how fluffy it is with the other plants. It's doing really, really well. I've just been leaving this tank alone. It did have like a bit of an algae kind of spike, but being connected to all this water, it's surprisingly doing really, really well. The original scape, these are all real rocks. I wanted to make it look like, hey, how'd the moss get in there? Huh. I wanted it to look like these plants up front are going to grow more and more and more and kind of hide the rocks. But then if you look at it, and those other plants, it'll look like maybe the rocks go throughout the entire tank. But the longer and longer this tank's established, the more and more it just looks like there's a line of rocks in front of this, almost serving like a barrier. And I don't mind that. I like it a lot. All the plants seem to be doing incredibly well. You have to remember that in the back, those are all sword plants. And yes, some of them get bit, some of them don't, but I'm not so sure how well these plants are doing versus if I had better lights on them, because right now we have 3 pendant lights. I love these lights because they don't do any bleeding at all. And I've got it on the 2,000-gallon aquarium as well, and look how high up that is. But if we look down, it lights the whole tank up. 60 watts, less than $100. Again, I'd love to go through all the equipment and stuff, but it's time to kind of look at the 2,000-gallon aquarium. Couple things that I changed on this since last time you guys seen it was, let me think here. Well, these guys are over here still. I don't know. I don't see any fry yet, but we've bred these guys in the past. This is Geophagus savannah. And I just don't think the fry are going to last in this tank because of the Oscars. Now, I'm also going to be adding another fish into this tank, and in order to keep him, the Oscars likely got to go because they're such food pigs that I'm not so sure. Oh, there's the Bisher in the back there. And where's the Pucko? In there somewhere. Yeah, these tanks, every time I come out here, every tank is a little different. Something's always going on. Somebody's missing, and then they reappear the next day. And just the tanks are just so darn big. With that said, I removed some of the vines from this tree. It was just way too much. And removed a lot of the moss and some of the vines from the tree back here. I'm going to light this up a little differently and a little better likely as well. I think I might add another pendant, put this one over there a little bit, put that one over there a little bit, because we don't really see this tree that well at all, and it's such a cool tree. I got to line it up a little bit better too, because when I was taking out the moss, it stuck so bad that it was kind of pulling at everything. Let me know if I should remove even more of those vines though. The light reflection is going to be pretty bad right now. Yeah, 2000 is doing fantastic. Again, might have to remove the Oscars, but I love that trio, and they look so darn good with the arowana. However, in about 3 to 4 months, as they grow even bigger, the arowana is going to turn on them. The biggest fish I can have in there is the geophagus. He leaves them alone. He doesn't bother with them. They stay close to the surface, whereas the Oscars are just constantly pestering him, wanting to be his friend, like his 3 little musketeer buddies. Keep them in there as long as possible. And the more and more I look at them, the more and more I think there's no way I can get rid of them or really want to. But you can look at the side of this guy. Oh, arowana would give him a nip. What a beautiful fish, though. Now, let's go in the house, and I want to show you the fish that I'm putting in here along with everything else that's going on in there. Now, I'm really behind on ripping this room apart, but all those 15s are gone. Boy, man, does that ever, tank ever need to be tidied up a little bit? See if I can adjust this for you guys to actually see. Oh, it's just the front glass that needs to be cleaned. These are all the Tropheus, and a lot of the rocks and stuff have been taken out. You can kind of see them back there. Kind of, sort of, right? Yeah, they're going to look awesome in the gallery in their new tank. And then this 180 is going to be a saltwater tank. And once I take this tank out, I can remove the stand. And when I take those guys out, I'm going to, these are the shell dwellers down here. I don't know what I'm going to do with this tank, but I already started taking out a lot of their sand. So they'd be over here somewhere. And there's all their shells. Oh, there's one. Little baby. Yeah. So all those shells got to go. I don't know what I'll do with this tank. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But there's no room in the gallery for it. And then this tank. This is that really nice black diamond stingray. He's put on a little bit of size, but he's probably only 8 inches. And we've had him for well over a year, closer to 2 years. He's incredibly, well, he's got the perfect body shape, and he just doesn't grow. We feed him, he eats. So I'd like to put him in the 2000. I just hope that he grows. My fear is like he's some sort of dwarf version of them. Of every species can have like deficiencies and dwarfs in them, and I think that's just what this is. But I want to put him out in the 2000. And once we put him in the 2000, we're going to have to keep a really close eye on him, make sure he's eating, make sure he's getting enough food, that sort of thing. But I suspect he'll put on some size out there. I'm not going to get any more stingrays. I'll just keep one male. I don't want to get into breeding or doing anything like that anymore. I just wouldn't have anywhere to put them and running out of space. And I just want to enjoy some of my tanks. I'm breeding a little bit here and there, but that's it. So these are the last 3 tanks out in this in the old fish room. So once I get these 2 out, this is a nightmare to get up the stairs. It's like 400 pounds. But once I get that out, I can shut this filter down. This is do-yourself sand, do-yourself filter. It's running that tank there. But I could probably put him out next, and once I get him out, I could take all of this stuff out of here. And then once all this stuff's out of here, get these done, and then construction and repairs to the house can be made. And that's the whole reason for shutting this kind of area down. But lots of things to go through and figure out. And one of the standing logs, remember these guys? Oh, that's what I want to do with one of the 4-foot tanks. With this tank, when I put it out there, I'm going to do a full carpet of hair grass. And the rest, just standing logs. Yeah, that'll be cool. You guys seen me do that before. It used to be one of my most viral videos, but it also inspired a tremendous amount of people that do those kind of standing logs with grass on the bottom. Very cool. So that's it. And I must admit, this is probably one of my favorite versions of the aquarium gallery. It's got a little bit of everything in it, but it's also been allowing me to explore and enter into a new part of my hobby. After I've been in the hobby for like 25 years or something like that. And you're not interested in the same thing forever, especially when it comes to aquariums, because there's so many types of fish, so many types of layouts and so many different things that you can do and create. And I find my favorite part of the hobby is shopping for the new fish and setting up a new tank and, you know, creating something, enjoying it, and then doing it again and again and again and again. I've been so lucky to be able to do so many, but I know a lot of people do that as well. Some people like to set up an aquarium, keep that one forever. And for somebody like me that has ADHD, I can't fathom how you could do that. I don't understand it at all. So I do have a question for you guys. How long is the average life of your aquarium? Everything's healthy. I don't mean everything's dying, but before you're like, you know, you get that itch where you kind of want to change things up, maybe switch the fish out and do that sort of thing. Because I know there's many of you guys out there just like me, and I'd like to hear some of your ideas. This is also, like I said, my favorite version of the aquarium gallery in a long time. It feels more thoughtful, more planned out. It's also taking me a lot longer, so I'm able to kind of like, you know, sleep on it. Do I really want to do it this way? Do I really want to do it that way? Because even though things are kind of happening, this wasn't even the original plan. It's just, I started making adjustments and changes. And once we get all those, not all those, there's only a couple more tanks that got to come out here. But then I can start finishing off the rest of the gallery. The 2000's been bugging me a little bit lately. I don't love it right now. And I think it has to do with the fish in it. It either needs more fish or the scape needs to change. Something about that 2000 is just, it's just bugs me about it. Something. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe you feel the same way. And if it does, let me know in the comment section below about the 2000. I know that the 700 gallon is going to be everybody's favorite aquarium, or the Piranha tank, but let's take the monster tanks out of it. What's been, well, there's not much else to pick from. Out of everything that I showed you today, what's your favorite aquarium or fish that you've seen in today's video, and what are you most excited to see about in the next one? Let me know in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, though. I certainly enjoyed making it for you. I always like talking about my fish tanks and showing them off, because normal people don't want to hear it. See you in the next video.